Let's move on to our third main topic today. And our third main topic today gets sent in to us from one of our Patreon supporters, Angry Irish Benjamin. And first of all, Angry Irish, thanks for being a Patreon supporter. John, as I write this, the word is Downton Abbey will walk away with a massive opening of $31 million, cleaning the clocks of Ad Astra and Rambo Last Blood. I never paid this show much mind, but apparently it's become a minor worldwide sensation. How about that? Okay, thanks a lot for sending that in, Angry Irish. And yeah, so last week or 2 weeks ago, we were talking about this weekend, and we talked about what do we see, winning the weekend. And I think across the board, we said probably Rambo with Ad Astra right there. But hey, don't be surprised if Downton makes a nice little showing for itself, coming up in third place, all that kind of stuff. Then last week, something else happened where we were like, is Downton going to do better than we think? And I'll tell you what, I went to go see Downton Abbey on Friday night. The reason I didn't go Thursday is because Ann and Corey couldn't go till Friday, so had to go on Friday. Now, normally in movie theaters, it's normally either for Star Wars movies, a big Marvel movie, or a big DC movie that, when the movie starts, the audience goes, yeah, you get an ovation in the audience, right, as the movie's starting. That happened in Downton Abbey. I was in that theater, and first of all, I was shocked how many people were dressed up. Like, I knew there might be one or two. There was a bunch of people dressed up, and as those first piano notes, bum, 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 the audience was like, yeah! I'm like, what is going on? And Anne's already crying. She's like this, and the movie hasn't even started yet. I'm like, okay. And you know what? It is a charming little movie. This is a charming little movie. Now, I've told you guys before, the thing about one of the remarkable things about Downton Abbey was that, because I watched a bunch of the episodes with Anne before, is that it's never like, we need to save the life of the king. No. It's like, what silverware do we serve with dinner tonight? That's the big topic. And they somehow make that riveting and important. And I kid you not trying to give away any spoilers for this movie, but one of the big conflicts and one of the big hurdles they got to overcome in this movie is the hot water boiler isn't working. There's no hot water in the place. What are we going to do? And then, of course, the big thing is, who gets to serve dinner tonight? No, I'm not kidding. The big thrust of who gets to serve dinner tonight is, and they make it riveting and important. Anyway, this movie came out and not just did well for itself. You're not kidding. It kicked Rambo's ass. It kicked Ad Astra's ass. It beat Rambo and Ad Astra by 50% of their box office thing. Let's take a second here and take a look at this. So here's how the weekend actually ended up shaking out. Downton Abbey comes in first place, destroying Ad Astra and Last Blood by, like I said, 50% of Ad Astra and Last Blood's overall box office, just utterly annihilating them. And it comes in at $31 million, which they've got to be thrilled with. Ad Astra came by smallest of margins in second place at 19.2. I did not like Ad Astra. I wanted to. I was excited for it. I thought it was one of the most dull, boring films I've ever seen. Rambo Last Blood, which I did get a big kick out of near the end especially, also made $19 million. It Chapter 2 continues rolling on with $17.2 million. And Hustler's still hanging in there, making $17 million. But again, here the story is Downton Abbey didn't just eke it out, it throttled Ad Astra and Rambo. And so it brings up the question, where did we get this wrong? Like, I mean, we all thought it could do pretty well. It's got a following and all that kind of stuff, but it just came out. So clearly we have underestimated just how big the following of Downton Abbey is. We have clearly underestimated how passionate that following is for something like this. And then I went downstairs. I don't know if I can, I'm not even going to bother trying to bring up, maybe I will see if I possibly can bring this up. But like yesterday, the doorbell rings. Yeah, I can get it. Here it is. Yesterday, the doorbell rings. And I go to answer the door, and it's an Amazon delivery guy, and it's a package for Anne. And is anybody surprised that this is what was inside? And immediately we came out of watching Downton Abbey.
Oh my God.
Anne loves Clue. She's got like 15,
5 different,
She's got like 15
Golden
different
Girls
versions
Clue.
of this. Oh yeah, she's got it all. Of course, she immediately went and ordered Downton Abbey Clue. So, I mean, there you go. But I mean, we have clearly underestimated some stuff here. And this thing is a global force. This thing's a global. It's already blown way past its production budget on its first weekend. So again, this isn't a Star Wars movie or Marvel film that's going to make $500 million worldwide or anything like that. But this is a little English show about some people who live in a house and their daily lives. I mean, Rob, what do you write all this up to when you look at this?
Bruh. This show is like Star Wars or Endgame for hopeless romantics. And you know what that means? Every woman in the world. And dudes, too. I mean, people love Downton Abbey. It's about you know what? I have a secret suspicion. Maybe not so secret now because I'm saying it on the show. There is a large contingent of the population that wishes we lived in that era again.
Oh, for sure.
I certainly do. I mean, I would love to wear three-piece suits every day and have beautiful, bespoke, tailored costumes and go out every day and have a very mannered dinner and Emily Post manners everywhere and people talking. It's like I watch Remains of the Day and it kills me. And this is kind of like Remains of the Day, but it's a Remains of the Day series. And I didn't underestimate this. I was telling you this is going to be big, and it costs not a whole lot.
I think about 20 million tops.
Single location, and that was probably half that was for Maggie Smith to get her to come back and play the Dowager Countess, right?
Who, by the way, Maggie Smith is awesome in this
always.
movie. She's great in this movie.
In everything, always.
England is just a town. England is a country where the acting tradition all the way back, I mean, that's where the Globe Theatre was. So,
and the new Globe Theatre is.
The new Globe Theatre is, and you've got this contingent of actors, and Downton Abbey they should make a Downton Abbey movie every year. They'd make a fortune. They're still making fortunes. Just have everybody come back because people will go. It's like the baseball diamond in Field of Dreams.
Aaron, when I look at this, the first thing that comes to my mind is that there are a couple of shows that are lifestyle porn in the sense that we watch them because we want to live that life vicariously through the people on there. A couple of the things that come to mind for me. Number one was Entourage. That was the first show that really stood out to me as being one of those. We watch the show because we want to live that life with these guys. Sons of Anarchy was one of those for me. I think a lot of men in particular always wish they had kind of like a brotherhood like that they could be a part of.
Criminal Biker Gang?
Sex in the City was
Sex
a
in the
big
City was
one.
was huge for women on that level.
I mean, Gossip Girl, even.
Yes.
That was the draw for a lot of young women.
This is another one.
And people were like, I don't understand. This show is terrible. But it allowed people to, I mean, Keeping Up with the Kardashians. The reason people watch that show is because they want to live vicariously. Here's the thing that I always laugh at, though, when people, and Robin, poke fun at you for a minute. When people say, oh my God, because Tom is the same with Game of Thrones. I would have loved to live at that time. And I want to tell him, Tom, you would not have been Jon Snow. Like, I hate to break it to you, but if you're not like super
I would have
wealthy.
been Sam.
If you're not super wealthy and powerful in this life, why do you think that you would have been the person sitting at the table with the bespoke in that life? Because I love to think that I would have been Maggie Smith had I lived at that time. But the reality is that I would have been in the back, like cleaning the toilets and like making
Mrs.
butter.
Farnsworth or whoever the cook lady is.
I would not have been living the high life had I been living back then. Just like I'm not really living the high life, except on occasion when I have friends that are living high life. It's always so funny that when we think about if I lived back then, I would be this. Like, no, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't
be. No one had showers.
Yeah.
Everybody stunk.
Yeah. When Tom says, I would love to live in the time of Game of Thrones, I'm like, do you have any idea how badly those people stink?
No Star Wars, no internet. Yeah.
No,
I don't know
not
that I would
interested
have
in
liked that.
But I did read an article in the Hollywood Reporter this morning that was saying that overwhelmingly, the age of the Downton Abbey moviegoer this weekend was 55 and up. So clearly, that is saying that the baby boomer market is starved for material, and they're willing to pay all of that discretionary income that they're getting from their Social Security checks and their rent on their third and fourth house that they're renting out. They're willing to spend that money at the movie theater. So this is another untapped market that maybe Hollywood is going to start paying attention to. Like, oh, wow, if we start making more movies that are tapping into that 55 and up boomer market, we might be able to have one of these $31 million openings more regularly.
And make no mistake about, though, there was that fact notwithstanding, there was a lot of younger people at
Sure.
that Downton Abbey thing. Like I was really surprised how many younger people were there too. It
What was your
crazy.
costume? Because I know that Anne was able to twist your arm into dressing up.
Not a
I know
thing.
she was.
Nope, not a thing.
Pictures or I don't believe you.
No, and I got it. I've got video. I've got video of us coming out of the theater. And even Anne and Corey toned it down a lot. Anne like wore a, who's the one that Meghan what's the royal wedding? Meghan and she married which prince?
Oh, Harry.
Harry. She wore a Harry and Meghan prince shirt, but
Nice.
her and Corey wore their tea time hats, their big giant tea time hats. So that was kind of good. Question is for you guys. What do you make of this? Downton Abbey coming out of nowhere, spanking Rambo and Ad Astra. What do you think about it? Jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right.